Good morning, good morning. It's Monday, the 20th of January 2025. I trust you are all well and that you're looking forward to a great day. And once again, thank you for viewing my video, and I appreciate it very much. I've been busy with videos on the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Today I'm going to shift the gear a little on that and look at questions that people might ask concerning why do we do this, these videos on prophecy and so on. Yes, why do I do this? Just to answer that question, from what I've observed in society, near and far, there's a lot of ignorance about what's happening in the world. And in my observation, especially on the topic of prophecy, there is not enough interest, there's not enough focus, there's not enough knowledge concerning it. So hence the reason why one is motivated to pitch in and do your bit towards this issue. Also, what is observable is that many others with positions and titles don't really get it. It's business as usual, but this issue, this topic, this focus is not on the page. Another thing that you observe about people is that in general, people are respectful of persons. So they will only want to listen to people who they perceive to have the knowledge or the title or the position. They tend to forget that in God's dispensation, He is not a respecter of persons. He uses whoever He wants to use. He is sovereign. He is Lord. It is good pleasure to do what He wants. God is spirit and not man, and this is what many people forget. They tend to think of God in terms of human reasoning. So these are the things I observed, and I'm having a look at it at this time. God is spirit, like I said, and He goes against what people think as human beings. For example, I've got two examples that I just want to remind you of. In the Old Testament, it's also a historical account of a special people, the Hebrews, the Israelites. They were given special laws, covenants that were made with God, and they would be severely punished if they did not keep to those covenants, because they're dealing with God and not dealing with a man. And if you study, you'll realize that many times they were in rebellion. They didn't follow God's statutes and laws. But there's an interesting point about the Messiah. Their learned people were aware that there's going to be a special leader in the future that's going to come and lead them and solve all of their problems for them, referred to as the Messiah. You will find it in Isaiah, especially in the book of Isaiah, where it's referred to, for unto us a son is given. Those words like the government will be on his shoulders, he'll be the Prince of Peace, and of his kingdom there will be no end. That scripture. So they were aware of this Messiah coming, and they waited for this Messiah. And all through the centuries they waited, and they're still waiting. The problem is that they reasoned like human beings, not the way our God would do things. And they expected the Messiah to be of princely birth, that he would be born in a palace, it would be powerful, and that he would not be born in a stinky, dirty stable like the manger that we learn about and people talk much about during the Christmas period. So that is where they got it wrong. They couldn't accept a person of the stature of Jesus Christ because he was just the son of an ordinary carpenter. So that was the first example of how people are respecters of persons and not the way God sees things or does things. Another example is the Pharisees and the scribes. There is in the New Testament description of these people. You must remember that they were the most learned people of their time. The people of the time didn't have books and learning where they could go home and read the scriptures for themselves, etc. The whole thing about the scriptures was that the learned people, the scribes and the Pharisees that we find in the New Testament books, they were the most learned, and they were the ones that had that special knowledge of the Old Testament. But here's the thing. When the Messiah came to them, they could not recognize that it was the Messiah. They had what is called spiritual blindness. So again, they were reasoning like men that a special person must come from princely birth, royalty, born to rich and powerful and that type of thing, and they couldn't accept this man. So they rejected him, and they desired to kill him. And we know the story, the betrayal, the arrest, the trial, and the choice of Barabbas instead of him, and of course handing him over to the Romans, who had this practice of crucifying people who are sentenced to death. And we know the story of the crucifixion and the death and burial of Jesus Christ. So history is very clear about these things. Now, so coming back to this thing of respecters of persons and people, I asked a question, for instance, why do we do this? What gives you the right? People ask that question to teach this material. What is your position? What titles do you have? What is your status? What recognition do you have? They look at the appearance of a person. They'll ask, you'll see, he's not from any pedigree or any special family in society. So this is the reasoning of a common man. We'll ask questions like, what is your education? What training have you? You just come up from nowhere and you want to talk about these high and lofty things. Well, I'm blessed to have had an education. I did a diploma in music and went to teach music, but I discovered soon that I couldn't get a teaching position, because music was more of an elective subject in the school, and so I was in a precarious position where I couldn't get a permanent position. So the writing was on the wall for me. So what I did, I registered for a bachelor's degree so that I could teach school subjects like English, history, and so on. And so I registered for the bachelor's degree and majored in English and history and politics and international politics. But English I did to the level of second year, which qualified me to teach those subjects. But I reasoned that after I graduated with a degree, that I had the focus and the discipline of academic learning, and why wait until afterwards I'd have to recreate that focus and that discipline. So the year after I graduated, immediately I registered for another degree, the B.Ed, which is a Bachelor of Education, and this one is not the teaching degree, it is the academic postgraduate degree. We did subjects like empirical education, empirical education, didactics, history of education, comparative education, etc. And after graduating with that degree, I had the same reasoning that instead of actually losing my focus in my academic discipline, leave it for too long, I would struggle to get back to that. Let me continue. So I registered for the Master's Education, M.Ed, Master of Education, and did it with a dissertation, and all of this was distance education, which was suitable for me because I could continue to work, but it was very, very difficult, very difficult. Lots of hard work, focus, and discipline. But then eventually I did graduate with that one, and of course the same reasoning was that I should register for the next degree, but this time I did not. It was a couple of years afterwards I decided I'm going to register for the Doctor of Education degree, your PhD. And after a year, I couldn't keep going because of the demands of my work. When you at higher education and the research that you need to do, and run around for the items of the research becomes extremely difficult. You just cannot do it. It's virtually impossible in many cases, depending on the subject area that you adopt. So, so that is the story about myself. And many times I don't talk about this, but I felt urged to talk about this now because, to dispel this attitude that people generally have. Now, who are you? What qualifies you to talk about these high and lofty things? Well, there's such a good thing called transfer of knowledge. So whatever area that you studied in at this higher education level, you can apply it in another subject as well. Obviously, I can't talk about maths or science or physics uh, in terms of at this level, but subjects like theology and such related subjects, I can transfer knowledge or skill where that's concerned. So I have an education, and the point, just to come back to what I said earlier on, God uses whoever He wants to use, and He equips them to do. It's in the Word. So part of a person's life, you're prepared for things, and you see God's hand. Uh, in hindsight, you see God's hand in your life in molding you and developing you and growing you to the point that you can also do the work that's required of you. So if I can just conclude on that point, that it's important that we're not respecters of persons. A person doesn't need to have titles, positions, status, etc. for a person to listen and hear. Because remember the previous video, I ended off with the point about, or made the point that my sheep hear my voice, the words of Jesus Christ. My sheep hear my voice. So if you've listened to this point in the video, you are listening, you are hearing something. I know, like I said in the previous video, that we in the age where everybody wants to just skip and be entertained and they scroll through television programs from the TV, or even the screen on their cell phones, etc., because they want immediate gratification. But like I said, if you're meant to hear, you will hear. And it doesn't matter to me whether a great number of people follow this information or just two. It's the same difference for me, because as long as somebody takes it to heart, um, I am doing what I must do, and the word is going out. So I want to wish you a great Monday. Enjoy your day further.